Welcome to Working on It. I'm Dr. A and I'm a clinical psychologist aiming to make your life just a bit more manageable. Remember, the tools and the tidbits that you pick up on this channel are purely educational. They can't replace therapy, but with some practice, they can help you along in your daily life. So let's get started. Today, we will be joining the conversation. You know, the Adam Levine conversation. My God, unless you've been living under a rock, everybody now knows that Adam Levine from Maroon 5 has cheated on his pregnant wife with their third child, this Victoria's Secret model that everybody keeps saying, with a number of people. Allegedly. It goes as we start from potentially messages that were exchanged all the way to potentially having a 1-year affair. Allegedly. We don't know. But that's what people are alleging, and a lot of people seem to be believing it. Honestly, myself included. So, we're going to talk about not Adam Levine's life as much, but sometimes we can learn things. So we're going to talk about cheating in general. It's such a taboo thing. Nobody wants to talk about it, but sometimes we have to talk about things to kind of rethink our relationships and what we could be doing better, or what we could be doing more, or things that we want to prevent, right? So let's talk about it. It's interesting because there are a lot of monogamous animals in the animal kingdom. We're just another animal, right? But there are a lot of animals that aren't monogamous, and the jury is kind of out on whether we're supposed to be monogamous or not. We're not sure if human beings are supposed to be monogamous or not, but it sort of doesn't matter because there is ceremony around it. There are vows exchanged. There are promises made. So once that is done, the expectation is, and what people promise each other in those situations of marriage or long-term relationships, is often fidelity, right? That people feel more secure that the time you're dedicating, the love you're dedicating, the intimacy you're dedicating is only to me, and I could say the same thing in return. So whether we're meant to be monogamous or not sort of doesn't matter once there are promises exchanged and once there's an understanding in a relationship. So with Adam and his family, these promises seem to have been broken, and how they're going to deal with it, I'm not sure. But for us, we have to understand that those vows mean security to the other person. And that is so important, to feel safe and secure in your relationship. And when that promise is broken, when there is infidelity or being unfaithful or cheating that occurs, what happens is the person on the receiving end, let's call them the victim of this, can experience anything from obvious things to from a loss of trust, right? And difficulty trusting in relationships that maybe didn't exist before, all the way to anxiety of a clinical sense, feeling very anxious about things and anxious when they attach to people in relationships, all the way to PTSD-like symptoms. So this can be, this act, this decision that somebody makes within the promises that were made to go against that can have really severe consequences on the other person, and not just in that relationship, but in relationships moving forward as well. So we want to keep that in mind. Now, I want to go down a list and talk to you guys about some reasons that people cheat. Okay? The first reason that people cheat, I mean, this is in no particular order, but just the way it is in my head, is people feeling unseen and unappreciated. This is one of the top ones, right? When we live with somebody, when we have a long-term relationship, it kind of becomes a little bit something we forget to express appreciation for the little things they do, like unloading a dishwasher, or the big things they do, the effort they put into getting ready to go out on that date night, right? Or the way they're being caring toward their friends that we see. We forget to express that we see them for all the qualities that they are, for all the things that they do. That's one of the reasons people partner up in the first place, is to be seen, is to have a witness to your life. So when people feel unseen for the different parts of who they are, when they feel unappreciated, sometimes that can lead to a disconnect that can be start the ball rolling on cheating or infidelity. The other thing that can lead people to cheat is avoidance of conflict. I don't want to deal with this. This is complicated. There's conflict in our relationship, or there's problems in our relationship, small or big, and I don't want to deal with it. This is hard. When I come home sweeping it under the rug all the time or pretending like everything's okay, but one or both people aren't satisfied, is hard. You know what's easy? Cheating. So that new person that doesn't know all the complexities of me or doesn't have resentments and disappointments, they think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's easy. So I'm going to avoid this conflict and run to the things that feel easy, right? So we don't want to avoid conflict. We don't want to sweep things under the rug because it can really go to this really negative place. The other big reason why people cheat is to feel alive. I mean, let's be honest with each other. I don't feel like people talk about this enough. It is very exciting to be around someone new who is hearing all your fun stories for the first time, is discovering your sense of humor for the first time, is discovering your skill sets and what you're good at, your talents, is praising you for it. That tension building, that flirtatiousness, what's gonna happen, that makes us feel alive. It's exciting. It's very exciting. I mean, my God, there are studies that show that some of the same places in our brain light up as when people do these euphoric drugs when we're dating and flirting and feeling in love. So we can't deny that that is very exciting, right? Sometimes in long-term relationships, sometimes familiarity kills that excitement. It doesn't have to be that way, but when people don't attend to it, then it sort of does dull things. And who doesn't want to be paid attention to by a new person who, again, thinks all of these things that this other person heard a million times are new and exciting and fun? So that's the unfortunate thing also that leads people to cheating. Wanting to feel alive, wanting to feel excited, right? The other thing that leads to cheating sometimes is actually, well, these next two things are surprising. One is a fear of abandonment. Sometimes when people worry whether the relationship's going to work out or not, whether the person is going to leave, guess what? There's self-sabotage, that's real. They're like, well, I'm going to leave before them, right? Or I'm going to split my time and attention so I'm not as invested if something happens. So funny enough, fear of abandonment sometimes leads people to abandon the other person by cheating and by being unfaithful. And the other surprising thing in that vein, and the last thing I'll talk about today as a reason that people cheat, is insecurity. You're feeling insecure, you're feeling not confident, and so guess what you're going to do? You're going to try to seek it out other places. You're going to confirm for yourself that, no, you do have value because this person wants you. This person's paying attention to you, right? So this fear of abandonment and this insecurity seems like it would make us grip onto the person more, but sometimes it actually makes us look elsewhere and act on that. So those 5 things are things that I want you to think about, to see if you see within yourself, and also to see if you're seeing in your significant other. Because my biggest advice to you today, it sounds so simple. It's going to be such an annoying fix to sort of cheat-proof your relationship, although you can never do that, but to try to prevent these kind of straying, right, is communication. Is that so annoying? I wish I had a better thing to say because communication is hard. It's hard work. People miscommunicate all the time or feel unheard all the time. But you have to communicate with your partner because guess what? Men cheat, women cheat, and the funny thing is they cheat a comparable amount. About 1/5 of both men and 1/5 of women admit, and these are just the people that admit it, to have cheated at some point in their relationships, in their long-term relationships or short-term, right? About a fifth. So we have to address this. We do have to communicate, and unfortunately, that is the only solution. So if you are feeling any of the 5 things that I had listed, let's say you are feeling unseen, you are feeling unappreciated, you are feeling a little bit more insecure, whether it's something you have in your own body and mind or something that the other person did to have caused you to feel that way, you have to communicate it to the other person. It sounds so simple, but the simplest solutions are the best ones. What do we do after we communicate it? Well, we're going to feel uncomfortable. It's very vulnerable. It's like this vulnerable underbelly of ours that we don't want to expose. We want to come off happy and confident to other people about our relationship, to ourselves about our relationship. But again, we have to be honest with how we feel about to ourselves and to our partners. And what can happen from that? If we're honest and we're vulnerable, even though what we're saying feels like icky, right? If we do that, then we watch. Because one of 2 things is going to happen. Our partner is going to provide some level of empathy, their version of empathy, and try to make you feel better or correct certain things or want to work with you to get to a better place. Or that person is going to not really provide empathy, get defensive, be dismissive of your feelings and of your experience, and it's going to make you want to not really bring it up again, right? So one of those 2 things are going to happen, but either way, you're going to get answers. Either way, it's a solution. Either way, it's information that you now have. That when I try to be honest about the state or the status of our relationship, I am made to feel validated and like it matters what I'm saying, and that I see that person working on it. There's clear evidence of them working on it, right? So I'm going to stick it out and I'm going to work on my own things too. And we can sort of get to a place that we feel happier together. Or none of that happens and some version of the opposite of that happens, and you might need to reevaluate things. You might. It doesn't mean it's the end all be all. Couples therapy exists, right? With a mediator to try to help you guys communicate, but you would need to reevaluate things. So either way, it's movement forward. Either way, it's moving away from a stuckness that you might feel in any of the 5 things that I listed that usually causes people to cheat. Okay? Think about it. This is some heavy stuff, but we do need to talk about it because, like I said, it's not an uncommon experience for men or women. Men frequently cheat and get cheated on. Women frequently cheat and get cheated on. We have to talk about it if we want to avoid it. Okay? In the meantime, I post videos every Tuesday and Friday. And come back and see me next time. We'll be talking about a brand new topic, and I hope to see you then. Okay? Until then, you got this. See you next time.